please stand for this part of my presentation for 2 minutes. My brother will be playing taps. We are a military family. And so, with that, yeah? That's all right.
Bad attempt.
Okay, well, we have one, whatever, and I'll have it set for at the end of the presentation. What we are here in Tyler, we live in Tyler, Texas. My brother is from San Antonio. Please see, please see. I wanted to start my story from where I came in and go backwards, since you've been hearing from the slave part. I wanted to tell you about the future of what my family wants to bring here to East Texas. Right today, we have 3 markers on the wall. So I'll start with the newest marker, my great-great-grandfather, Butcher Christian. It will tell you when we came here in 1850 with our slave master from Midway, Alabama. It will also make reference to Butcher Christian's little brother, Adam Christian, that followed our slave master to the Confederate War. Now, you may say, well, that's the wrong side. But the outcome of the war was freedom. So you can't have a lot of good if you don't go through some bad. You will see as you look here later an Emancipation 1863 original medal here. And the only way that we could get recognition for being in that war is there was 2 Confederate soldiers that did an affidavit that said Adam Christian served and he didn't run off in his capacity as a cook. And with that recognition, I am part of the Molly Moore Davis Daughters of the Confederate. I am very proud of both my heritage, both bloodlines. You will also see my brother, Randall Christian, as you see, served 36 years in the service. So the Christians have been in every facet of the war since the beginning. We can document that by our cemetery, our Shiloh Cemetery. And we were on Reefs Over America not long ago. And we were honoring World War I, Calvin Christian, Roger Christian, World War II. And one of our descendants wrote a book, When Shiloh Comes, right after he came back from World War II. Now, not only did he talk about East Texas in this book, but as a black man coming back from the war, and his cousin, as a DAV, you may have heard of No Male, No Morale. That's where the black women were in France, and they served. Because there was so much male, there was no morale. And Butcher Christian's, one of his children were Zora Christian. And she is featured on the DAV National Magazine, being recognized years later. I think that's why I wanted to tell you and start with the military background. I was born on the military base. And so, as you can see, as a military child, you're very passionate to that. I also represent District, Texas, American Legion, and we have a gift that we're going to leave the world with this year. It will be a gift, 100 acres on Interstate 20 to build a cemetery that will be the resting place for over 40,000 East Texas veterans. That is our gift.
That's all right.
And I'll leave that for you to see, because I'm telling my my story this way. That is the land, that is the counties, and this is a letter from the Texas Veterans Commission. We will be the first family ever in the state of Texas to donate a cemetery. Not a company, just a family.
All right.
Also, you will see me talk about in my presentation the 665 acres that's mentioned on that historical marker that we just got this year, which took 12 years to get done. The 665 acres that Butcher Christian, my great-great-grandfather, owned is right here. That's one of the old maps. I put this in here because that was a great story. And it was a true story of how the wells and how the East Texas miracle started. And they showcased how these people would come in and they would woo the widows and get these leases and have them all, 500 leases with only 1/8 for the royalty owner. 7/8 went to the operator with no raise for 90 years. So you got to know when you're dealing with a penny back here, where are you here? But for me, I wanted to investigate that in 2014. I took that oil company to the Railroad Commission. And just last month, we went to court. That is the BC Christian well. It specifies the 665 acres of land. That's me walking there last week. I bought that to signify that we were there, because it could have been torn down. But I got with the Railroad Commission and bought the tank. Bought it. Because I want the world to know we were here too. Thank you. I authored a book of slavery to bravery, and it entails what I'm getting ready to speak to you about, which is Gideon Christian, our slave master. And it must be recognized that we're very proud of where we came from, Alabama. And our slave master, after he came back from the war, and he also had Adam, he gave and sold us land. How did we buy land with no money? He allowed us to use the cotton gin to buy that 665 acres of land. And when you can prove something like that and have it on a marker and be pointing to it, that's history. Now, not only do we have that marker, we have two more. We have the Shallow School up there and the Shallow Church. That Butcher Christian in 1876, only 13 years out of slavery, formed. He's the founder. He's worthy of recognition. And not only that, the school, the Shallow School. There are 13 families that got together and put that school together. What's so important about this is that we have a marker today, and we still have our school. And in this future part, we'll be putting veteran housing out there for women. That's a big undertaking. And the greatest part, if I forget to mention it, we have a reunion. And it's the Christian reunion. And it's this year. And it's in Tyler. And we will have all branches of the family. And they're coming in and they're getting their rooms. And it will be Lottie Christian's children. Lottie Christian was the 15-year-old slave out of South Carolina that was bought in Alabama. And she was one of the slaves that came. And not only that, Gideon's brother, Lewis Christian, marries her later. If that's not unusual, my slave master, great-great-granddaddy, is buried in our cemetery. We're very proud of that. And that is why we wanted to say not only what we have done, but what we intend to do to leave the world better because of the things we went through. And our last book will be From the Cotton Patch to the Oil Patch down the road. So we got some great things coming. So let me start my presentation at this point. As you've been told, in 1846, Texas was a slave state. People came from all around after the Mexican War and the ratification of the Guadalupe in 1848. Texas' status as a union was cemented, and on the southern border, U.S. firmly established. East Texas was especially attractive to planters from the south, and many from Midway, Alabama, and Tennessee. Now, Upshur County is where we came in because Gregg County didn't exist. Gregg County wasn't here. East Texas was a virgin forest, rich, abundant rivers, terrains, cotton, tobacco, cash crop, which was focused, and that was their crop so that they could make a living. Lottie Christian had 5 kids. One was named Butcher, which would have been my great-great-grandfather, Teamer, Adam, Jeff, Hall. All of these were her children. You see, Gideon Christian, our slave master's wife, was named Carrie Barr. They had 32 slaves. In those 32 slaves, they had 14 that were from the range of 1 to 71-year-old female. Now 13, and then they had 27 males from the age of 7 to 25. My great-great-grandfather was one of those slaves. Gideon Christian's holdings at that time was over $30,000. And at the end of the war, Gideon Christian joined the Confederate Army. And he served on the Western Division of Camp Tally, which was a recruiting camp, and also established in Coferville. Butcher Christian didn't go to the war because he stayed to run the farm. After the war was over, Gideon Christian, which is buried in Abilene as a war hero, deeded these lands, and I found those deeds in the Gregg County Courthouse. That's what brought me to the Gregg County Courthouse. As a military family, my father always told us, "You're rich, you're rich, you're rich." I'm like, "Daddy, you don't work as hard and you be rich now." Shoot. All they can leave is the legacy to you. But being a military child, you learn one for all and all for one. And it's very hard to be prejudiced when you're in the same sand pile as the rest of the kids. And you're on the same bus as the rest of the kids because they didn't allow that. So, when you hear me speak of being proud of both my bloodlines, that is because from which I came. In the part of what I want you to see as we come from slavery, you can see the different accolades and things I'll point to because I want you to know all in your bloodline, you continue to fight for what is right. This is Reverend Antonio Christian, my little brother. We sent him, he was here in Longview working at the Highway 80 Rescue Mission. And as a commander, I sent him because I didn't want to get dirty. So, little brother went down there. Not only did he feed the hungry, we started the homeless program underneath the bridge in Tyler, Texas. And you will see his picture. When you look up there and it'll say column, that's Reverend Antonio Christian. That is our little brother. In this town, they respected the fact because they hired Reverend Christian in Tyler to bring sandwiches. And in Tyler, they said, we didn't have that many homeless at the time. I'm talking 207. He took pictures and he had friends, and he also, at his his passing, I never knew that he was saving souls at the same time. And so they would come when he was passed away, and tell how the Reverend Christian helped him along the way. So you can see how deep-rooted our military background is. He was born in Alaska, Anchorage, Alaska. The other brother was born in Tacoma, Washington, and I was born in Fort Riley. So we didn't have the physical site here because we were around the world. Our daddy was a combat soldier. 25 years. My oldest brother, 36 years, 5 theaters. And he deserves a round of applause. Stand up, big brother. He came in from San Antonio. I don't say much. But the idea, we have a legacy to tell, and we want the people to know we're proud of our legacy. When you have a white slave master buried in your cemetery, does that not tell you that's family? That's our grandfather. I have 4 of my grandfathers buried in that cemetery. And with this new marker coming today, this year, to recognize old Butcher Christian, that old Indian, that Chickasaw Indian that came to town as a 24-year-old man, don't you think that's well deserved? When you speak about the Shiloh School in 1876, that part is Butcher Christian and the cemetery. And for a family to have 3, not 1, 2, 3 historical markers, I think that's pretty outstanding. So as I continue to tell you about my story, after recognition and the end of the war, you had the Freedmen Bureau disbanded. Now, and Shiloh felt the need to organize their own church and school. Leading the charge was Butcher Christian. Gideon Christian helped Butcher Christian locate the Reverend John the Baptist. You see, that was an act of kindness. He was a 39-year-old mulatto from Virginia, and his wife was named Ellen. She was 33, a native from Georgia, and they had 4 children. By 1871, the first Shiloh Baptist Church was constructed south of the present-day location after Butcher Christian gave another 3 acres. It's a small log cabin. Now, 25 years later, A.D. Bryant deeded a 3-acre tract where you now see the Rosenwald School sitting on that land right there. It's still standing, and as Greg said, it's been beat up a little bit, but over 500 years. That red brick Rosenwald School is still standing. When they came back from the war, the impact of the Christian family after the war was significant. If you understand the segregation part, as we have been told, when a black man came back, my father served in Korea as a combat soldier in a segregated regiment. Now, that wasn't too good to be told to get to the back of the bus when we've been fighting on the front line for our country. But old Dad was what you call a combat soldier. He never let that get in the way of us harboring malice. He always said, you are born in the richest country in the world. There is a sacrifice, and you can do anything you want to here. You don't want to forget your past, but you want to leave the world better because you were here. Your ancestors came here as slaves. So on our part as a military family, we house 25 veterans every night at our place in Tyler, Texas for the last 17 years. So, thank you. We also are are bringing the women veterans with the school because they're a younger bunch of women with children, and they should be able to have a good life. And with that said, we've set up a school for them, a training school. And the GI Bill will pay for that. And they will have a chance to earn and learn and also be landowners. So look out. You got some combat women coming to live right here in East Texas and Gray County.
Go.
So let me go with a... So here we are, 1930, the red brick building, shaped like an L, and the front of the building, which was on the bottom was a house, the elementary school and department, and also the auditorium, and the principal's office, and the library. On the left wing housed the junior high school department, and also the classes, a high school, book room, cafeteria, and guess what? We got an indoor toilet was added. Because the school and desegregated, Shiloh was closed in 1966. It migrated to the White Oak Independent School System. Now there was a total of 136 graduates that passed through the doors of the Shiloh Colored School. Their alma mater is purple and gold. I'm a Texas College graduate. SBCU, same colors. Theirs was Ram and the mascot. Graduates from Shiloh School became contributing citizens in Texas and the nation. This long vacant school building was used to store chemicals for plastic companies and burned in 1993. The remains of the school are still standing. Please pray that this historical red brick building with over 168 years of history can remain there without somebody chipping it away. The Shiloh Colored School for ex-slaves, and there is a historical marker in front of it, as you can go past and see. And when you look over there, you'll see a nice brick concrete road that you can see the marker, and the person living there said, you're happy to visit it anytime you want to. The graduates resulted in a plethora of college graduates, individuals that became productive citizens. Some of those industries impacted were college grads with majors in education, business, science, certified professionals, managers, degrees with social workers, early childhood education, cosmetologists, supervisory position in business, sewing technicians, a plethora, and managed their own rental property, as I have, agriculture, engineering, and military service. In that old red brick building, you had 3 graduates in World War I that went through there. That should be recognized. You had World War II. You had 56 World War II graduates from that old Rosenwald black school on our property. You had 24 more that graduated from that old black school. That is approximately, out of 166 graduates, do you know over half the schools serve this country? Half the school, honorably. The military service of our family is to be recognized. Thank you for your military service, and do not be afraid or discouraged, for the battle is not yours, it is mine. 2 Corinthians. The ministers of the gospel of Shiloh Church had consistently shared their spiritual and financial ability in the district. The national life of the Baptist Church, it has supported many of the Texans, but also the Dallas School, foreign missions, Sunday school in Congress, National Baptist Convention. You see, great-great-grandfather Butcher Christian contributed to his community, to his church, and to his school. And upon his death at 67, He is buried in that same cemetery. He died in 1903. His story takes place in Upshur County first, and then in our property straddles the fence, coming into Gregg County. That was created in 1873. After the counties divided, the community of Shiloh, which Butcher Christian founded, became part of Gregg County. His land holdings straddled Upshur and Gregg. Butcher Christian was born in Midway, Alabama, to a Lottie Christian, an Indian, Chickasaw Indian. Me and my brother went there 2 years ago to look at the slave trade where we were sold and how we came to Texas. That is why that set of Christians there wanted to host the reunion here this year, because that was the East Texas connection. Most of the brothers came on into Upshur County and then migrated. Christian name. My dad used to say, everybody wants to be a Christian before they die. And that is true. At 24 years old, and as a free man, in 1865, he became a substantial landowner, substantial farmer, and the founder of the Shiloh School, and also the Shiloh Church. The legacy is reserved for his descendants, as well as the community of Shiloh. Butcher Christian positively impacted Gregg County black culture as an example of an American citizen who believed in bettering the world through his children's children's children. You see, I'm one of those children. And I would like to end this presentation by at least saying, and I want you to repeat this with me. Butcher Christian!
Butcher Christian.
You old Indian!
You old Indian.
I thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you for your contribution.
And I thank you for letting me share my story.
All right.